Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. So we have a fun day planned for everybody. We're going to be going over the budget. So basically how this works is we go through the budget highlights and capital requests first. Just so you guys can see it, you should see those in the front sections of your budget. And then we're going to go through every single fund and every single department within them and discuss them. And I gave you guys snapshots of it. We'll call it the numbers for the budget within the budget narrative. This is the time to talk about what's going on, what questions you guys have, and then we'll move on. All right. So from the
I'm sorry, before we started, we only have one mic, so.
we're just talking loudly.
Okay.
Yep, and we
Is it
hopefully
still
will
gonna be
capture.
recorded, or
We're still recording and
we hope
present.
those pick up?
We hope that we pick up. Yep. We have normally we're in the addition for this, but they're doing some renovation right there with some sewer repairs, so not safe. All righty. So getting into the budget highlight, these are just some of the major kind of views throughout the thing. The main one is COLA. We are looking at 3.5% COLA increase this year. I'll have a chart later on that shows you how we're scaling with the CPI from the South Carolina Eastern region. Then we have a health insurance increase. This is 6.5 on average. So the city pays for, we have single coverage, we have single with a spouse, we have single with children, and we have single, thank you, very discreet, single or full family. And so there were increases across the board. So 6.5 is the average across all those. Those are a mandate that we have to do through SMRF. We also have a load factor of 1%. That's good. A 1% means no increase, but also means no discount. This ties directly to how many incidents we're having, how many police wrecks we're having, how many accidents and injuries with staff. So we are maintaining a 1%. So we're not increasing because of everything we've done, but we're also not decreasing because we have had.
Is that insurance?
That's insurance, yep, across the board. So a 1% is a 0% modification to it, or 1%. We have one additional staff within this budget. We really worked hard. Every department requested staff. We are seeing that we're going to need some staffing in different areas. We can still meet the coverage we need, but one area that we knew we needed one in because of the increased activity there from taking it over from the county is a recreation coordinator. And then the big one we're having to do to keep up with costs is we are going to need to do a 6% additional increase to our utility rates, totaling to a 9% for water and sewer. The rising costs, the 3% that we do every single year is not keeping up with the increased costs and the maintenance that we're doing now to keep our utility operations in check. 9% is a conservative number. We could have gone higher, but we feel like 9% is good to keep, show that the bond coverage, the debt coverage is going to maintain and show the credit raters that we are trying to fix the issues that we got.
We're gonna unpack that more when we get to that part.
We're going to unpack it when we get to it. But I mean, this is something that I'm basically saying we have to do this to keep up with costs. All right. This is, again, that cost of living chart. I started tracking this in 2022, and what I noticed is that we were just doing a 2% COLA every single year, but it wasn't keeping up, especially when, I know it's difficult to see, but this first one in 2022 was a 9.10% increase in cost of living for the state, this area. So we did 2%, and then we did then do a 3%, and we did another 3.5% to catch up mid-year. And so then since then, we've been biting off more and more as we can. We're still about 2.1% behind the national or the southeastern region average for cost of living. And this is impacting our citizens. It's not a raise. It is cost of living adjustment to keep up. So this is affording the milk that everyone's trying to buy, milk and eggs. So we are trying to keep up with this as best as possible. And we were able to do a 3.5 and balance the budget in the same budget. Capital leases, we have been going through the capital every single year and reducing how much we're taking to help offset some of the rising increases of costs that we're seeing. So we've gone from typically pulling out close to $1.82 million worth of capital to now we're doing only $650,000 in general fund. The big one here, I believe, is going to be the radios for fire. We have some 100,000 for police, 260 for fire. We do need a new lawnmower and recreation, and we also are looking at a new bucket truck that puts up all the lights and takes care of all the trees for streets and grounds, as well as a new boom lift truck to help make sure they can do all the things they need to do. So overall, it's a very light general fund request for capital, and we'll dive into each of these departments as we go.
That's only
That's only for
for equipment, not for personnel.
equipment. Again, the only personnel we're requesting increase is the recreation coordinator. The enterprise fund is water, sewer, Neptune Island. It is another light year, $500,000. The big one being we need to do some lift station upgrades, $190,000 for that. We do have a water park. We do a $75,000 relining for our lines. That's every year, correct? We do 75 for Neptune Island, or are we just doing it this year? We're doing a relining of our
It's
slides. It's time to do it.
This is the relining of the wave pool.
The wave pool, thank you,
Sorry,
not slides.
no.
No, you're fine.
No, the lazy river.
Lazy River, not
It's
the wave
time.
pool. It's time. It's 9 years old at this point.
It is the wave pool.
It is the
We
wave
are
pool.
doing the wave pool.
Good.
Okay.
All right, 75 for the wave
Even
pool then.
better.
Good. And then general 25,000. So it's 500,000 for utilities. And then we do need, our requesting in sanitation, a new front loader, which is $425,000. That's the capital request. In total, it's about 1.6 million or 1.4 million. And this is all found in your debt schedules in the back, but this is a snapshot of our capital leases over the year and how they're, we are starting to see them trend down because we are requesting less capital throughout the years in anticipation of the increased costs we're seeing. And the slowing of revenues, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Any questions, just briefly, about any of the general capital? We are going to go into each of these departments and talk about it, but any questions off the bat? Yes, ma'am. It's a 9% in total. Yes, ma'am. We do a 3% every year to keep up. This is an additional 6% to help bridge that gap. And it's a one-time 9% increase. Yeah. We anticipate being able to go back to the 3%, but
Really a
one-time
one-time 6% increase.
6% increase, that's right.
Yes, and when we present it to council on the master, on the fee rate update next week, which, we'll have to have a separate ordinance for that to update the rates. And when we do that, you'll see we'll go ahead and do it for this year, probably we try to do it for 5 years, and it just goes back to 3%. So you'll see it for this year, but then we'll go ahead and do the next few years, so we don't bring it back each year for the 3%.
So we're proposing as part of our budget, but we're approving it prior to the budget.
It'll be alongside the budget.
Alongside the
budget.
budget. We'll do it at the same time as the budget next week. Yep, at regular council
So it's
meeting.
just a reading this next week and then approve it some other time.
No, it's
No,
first reading,
read.
first read for it's an ordinance
Yep,
change.
it's an ordinance, so we'll have 2 reads on it.
Yep. Okay. And you're seeing this across the areas. Other cities are doing, and we're doing about a third of what like Darlington increased recently. So it's time. The people are seeing that the increased costs are just outpacing the current revenues.
So by 2031, we'll be at a third of what we're currently drawing.
Under this current debt schedule, yes.
And so is that because of growth or because what?
That's debt payments rolling off, so while we see it going down right now, it's because typically capital leases are 5 years, so that's why you're seeing that big drop right there. I would anticipate we'll continue to do capital leases each year to continue for our capital needs. So you're not going to have that big drop as we continue to do that.
So we're going to find other debt. We're going to be using debt for something else.
Absolutely, every year that is how we are able to do.
In this year alone, we're adding $1.4 million in debt.
Right, so realistically, 29, 30, and 31 are probably going to stay closer to 27 numbers.
You're going to probably stay closer in that range as we go. It's just that number, the 2.1 million or 2 million area. These, I know it shows a decrease.
I'm looking at the year-end balance numbers, so.
Sure.
We're going to be closer to those numbers. What column should we be looking at?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What column should we be looking at as far as where you think we're going to be borrowing? You're looking at the 2 million, the first column.
Sure.
down payments. Okay.
Yeah.
I would, right, and what I see what you're saying, and so what I would anticipate is more of probably that 2025, which is what I think you said, that's the one that I would consider.
Yes.
Year-end balance, 18 million.
Staying around $18 million
Mhm.
worth of debt.
But we do have a big one rolling off in 2027. I believe it was 127,000 for that. That's a big debt payment that we do have
In
rolling off.
2027, we have 2 coming off.
Right.
One is in, and that 127 is general fund.
Yep. That's a general fund.
Okay. Because that was the debt we did in
Hey, if
2022.
we had interest rates lower, I mean, that would be great too. That would impact this.
It'd be helpful.
A few Yes, and you'll see that's what happened right there. It wasn't that we had a big drop. You see that on that chart, that big drop right there? That wasn't that we did less. That's because we did a refi deal
Right.
and we saved $1 million.
Yeah.
That was not that we slowed down on capital leases. That's how it's the only way we can do what we need each year for infrastructure and for equipment and all of these things. Because we cannot clear our reserves. We have to have a certain amount in there. For bond covenants and also because of our financial policies need to have about 3 months in there. So, that's what that big drop is though.
And that's where when we see that opportunity, that's what the best
Absolutely.
opportunity to do to really restructure our debt is the best way to do, to gain, to make gains, is what we've seen.
I love
Okay.
low rates again.
That would be nice. Yeah. We're watching the rates, as everyone is. It's painful sometimes. So, okay. Like I said, we will dive into each of these sections, but any other questions generally about the budget overview? We're gonna go into revenues now. Okay?
He's already ready to quit.
All right, so these are the budgeted numbers per year. As you see, we've had some steady growth. We are starting to see, as we've been talking about the last few years, there is a slowing of the increase in revenues. And we realize that as we start to kind of tap out where we are. This is at our current projection, our current millage, things like that. We did see a small increase, a 4% increase overall in revenues, so we went to about a $15.8 million general fund. But you can see where we came from, and now we're continuing to trend upwards. But we're going to need to find new ways to encourage growth. Housing is not it alone. We need commercial growth too, because housing with that 4% assessment actually is kind of close to not paying for itself. So we need commercial, absolutely need commercial to help get to it, or we have to find other ways to raise revenues or cut services. So right now we're in a good spot, but I'm just letting you know this is happening. We're watching this kind of slow down, okay? And that's across the area, and especially with things going on in the current climate of the country, there's a slowing, okay?
James,
Ma'am.
let me ask you one quick question.
Of course.
So if the Homestead Act goes up to $150,000,
Yep.
you're gonna pay 4% of what's left.
Yep.
Now, it says something about helping the, municipal governments or whatever, helping them to
Yeah.
make those dollars back up or something like that.
Yeah, there's a lot. I've had quite a few conversations with members of our legislative body about it. I know several of you have as well. That they're really diving into things that are going to affect city finances right now, especially with the taxes.
Okay.
And so when they make changes to property taxes, that hurts the wallets and the budgets of cities. There's no question about it. And so it's important, for instance, with the homestead exemption, which reduces the assessment value, which then reduces how much money we get. If we have an older population, for instance, we need to encourage more younger families to not be in the exemption because that hurts us. Right now, we're seeing growth in our taxes, but because we had a good reassessment year. We jumped about $300,000 and we jumped another $300,000 this year. But the reality is that if we keep getting just 4% housing that is assessed at a lower value, the cost to service them is going to outpace the taxes we're going to get eventually. So that's why we need that 6% assessment desperately from the commercial. But that being said, more housing than just commercial follows behind housing, so it's a double-edged sword.
And then also, you have to have lived at the property for 5 years.
Yes, yeah. Anything that they do to
So
tweak
that'll
it,
help.
it should. Hopefully, we'll see. But they are making changes at the state level, which is going to impact cities' finances.
What percent of our households are senior and subject to that exemption?
I don't have the data in front of me. I can find out for you, though.
Yeah, and this is the interesting
I think we had that
part.
in our master plan, I believe.
I didn't mean to break off, but I'm just letting everybody know that's what is being legislated now.
I think our average age is around in the 30s, I believe, from the studies I saw.
But I can look at that. But one thing I think is interesting with the homestead, unless you go and seek it out, I did that for my in-laws because that's when I started digging into it. Even though our population might be at that age group, they won't automatically add it. You actually have to go and do all the work
Right.
yourself. And they don't send you a letter letting you know you qualify.
Yeah.
They're going to make you seek it out. So that would be interesting to see how many qualify for it and then actually how many are going through the process of applying for it because it's not automatically applied to your tax
Right.
bill.
Right.
But that'd be some interesting data to see.
Yeah. I believe we have our demographics laid out in our master plan. I just don't have it on top of my head. Okay. So that's the budget, that's the revenues, that's expenses and revenue. And you can see, little quiz, the reason why they're both the same, because we have to, by law, pass a balanced budget, which is, $15.8 million in revenues, we're gonna spend $15.8 million in expenses. Has to by balance. You okay there, Brian? That's fine. Okay, all right, so this is a breakdown of our general fund revenues, 53%, and this has stayed pretty consistent there my entire time. 53% is our taxes, then we have license, permits, and fees is 30%. The operating transfer in is from the utility side. We have a formula calculation that we do to transfer them for us managing the utilities department. We have some intergovernmental changes, and then the one that I want you just noted here, that green one, I believe it's blue one. I'm sorry, it's in white, not easy to see. Sale of capital assets. We are planning on selling the building next door. We have seen that the Key and HR is doing well in those areas we took back over from the governor's school. So we'd rather put this back on the market for a commercial downtown business. But that is a plug-in, a one-time thing to help us balance this budget.
We need to sell that to balance the budget.
It's in general. I mean, we
That's
could
right.
we could have made up some things, but yeah,
Right.
that's helping us
I
offshoot
did,
some of the costs.
when Natalie was here, we did the same thing a
Every
few
year.
years, no.
Mm.
But when we had a year, I mean, it worked out that we did have something, an asset that we needed to get sold. I'm fortunate that we do have it this year. As we'll get into a business license, there's some things we see this year that will change next year that I will get into.
Yeah,
that
we went more
hopefully-
conservative on the revenues this year because of the slowing. That's where we have to talk about if we're not getting the commercial in, if we're not getting the housing in, that is the time to talk about taxes. So, and our mills are not enough to really do a one-time fix immediately. Like I said, we only generate with like a 5 mil increase, which is about normal, about $180,000, that's it. So we are seeing this happening. We're hopeful that we will outperform what we're seeing right now.
How much you expecting to get for that?
We have bugged in, I think, 310 right now.
That includes the timber as well that we're gonna be doing. I have that in this budget as well.
What do you?
We
think?
put 275 timber. Mhm.
Timber.
Yeah, we have the land over near, the one we talked about, right across
Russell
from
Road.
Ireland.
Russell Road.
Russell Road,
We're-
yeah.
We're
to
looking
timber
at
that.
selling some timber this year too to help with some
Mhm.
costs. It's a good time to sell. Prices are high for US timber.
Really?
Mhm.
Been hearing the opposite. Okay.
Well, with numbers, we look pretty good. You want to hold on to it? You can if you want.
No, I'm just talking to my timber cruisers that friends that are getting out of business.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure
some
it's-
of the bids that Sharon
yeah.
had gotten, they were,
I mean, if it's good. if
It was
goes
good.
That's awesome. Take it.
yeah, I think it was around 50,000.
40.
40,000.
We'll take it. Okay. All right, this is just to show the expenditures from our general fund. That is all the departments that are within the general fund. So the lion's share of our departments are in general fund, other than utilities. As you can see, we spend the most on public safety, which is fire and police. And then the next is auxiliary services, HR, finance, me, IT, HR, all that comes out of that side. And then public services, which is just the streets and grounds department. Okay? And that's just to give you an illustration. These have stayed pretty consistent throughout the entire time. All right. Now let's jump into each of the individual departments. We're going to dive into each one. Did you have a question?
Yes. Wait, before we get away from revenues.
Yep.
I do want to point this out. So we've talked a little bit about the slowing of it and with business licenses. So I reached out to MASC to see what was going on because our number of renewals is the same and even higher this year than previous years, but our revenues are lower, the total coming in. And I reached out to MASC, and I will say Alicia as well, Alicia Belt, did point it out, and because I said, will you dig into this and see what's happening? We're trying to figure out if we're doing great on renewals, they're up, everything looks normal, but much less revenue coming in, what's going on. And the issue is that they have had 3 to 4 classifications go down 1 grade this year. So the percentage that we're getting in of the revenues is smaller. So it's based off a 3-year rolling average of the revenues to determine which class they go into. And the years that's happening right now are like 2020, 2021, 2022. So what you saw is that big decrease in revenues. So So now it's moved all the classifications down. And by those groups doing that, they actually are paying less on business licenses. So I did reach out, like I said, to MESC, their business license person there, to see what all towns are being impacted by it. I'm interested to see the data coming in because we felt it here. We're not going to be the only city that did. So Caitlin said that she would look into that for us to see how it's impacting everyone across the state. So I'm trying to be proactive with that because it wasn't making sense if our renewals are up, but our revenues are down there. So with it being a rolling average, and we saw our years that really spiked in revenue, I would hope that would come up as the rolling average continues to move forward in the next years.
You know, as we're seeing a slowing down of spending. And so when people are spending less, then
That's
that
right.
directly impacts our revenues that come in from that. So and with the reclassification, a business that paid X amount last year is now paying a little less than they are this
That's
year.
right.
So that's why we went more conservative on our revenues. We actually did a flat revenue for business license for the first time in a while.
Yep.
To show that, just see how the market responds after things kind of start settling down. But what's happening right now is impacting us. So don't be confused. Little small cities are getting impacted by stuff going on
Absolutely.
nationally. Okay? All right. Any questions before we dive into each department? We're going to go one by one through each division in each department. And this is your opportunity to kind of go through. We'll talk about the line items, talk about whatever you want to talk about. All right? First up is our General Administration and Legal Department. This is 410, which is kind of our if there's nothing that fits into an individual department, we put it here. And this doesn't have our IT in it, does it? It's separate. Or is IT in this one as well? Karen, is IT in this one? Or is it the next one?
No,
Yeah,
IT is
separate.
separate.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
has its own. It's full
Okay.
percent.
That's right. All right. So you guys just see a summary. We are seeing a small decrease in operating expenses, and I believe that's from, what did that get transferred out for that? Why we have the decrease?
Is that in our book?
Yep. Karen, Cassie, what page is it?
That would be page 23.
23.
Yep, so one
What you
thing,
got?
you'll see the different, the operating there, and also you have the contingency that went down,
Yep.
right? So if you go to your line by line, you'll see these here.
So if you turn to the next page, on page 24, you'll see the line by line of what is increasing, decreasing.
Yep.
A lot of these are kind of.
So some of the things that you'll see, right, miscellaneous grant match, we don't have that here this year. And then our special project service we lowered. Christmas events, we're still doing that, but what we did this year is we really need to have all our events on one line. We don't need to have a separate line for Christmas. So this is just going somewhere else. It's decreased here, but it's definitely still there. It's in a different line item. We have moved that to hospitality and I believe a portion of it in our marketing department as well. Yes, it's all in hospitality now, which is our fund, our fund 11.
All right. Any questions about any of these lines?
Computer networking, you and I talked about that. Are we dropping that contract, changing it?
We are going to be exploring other contracts options in next year.
But that's not computer networking.
That's not, but that's in the,
Yes.
that's just the,
That's Spectrum.
that's Spectrum, yeah. We will be looking at our IT, but
Absolutely.
not
So
this.
computer networking is just the phone line.
Yes, that's all that, yes.
Yeah.
And then we have a separate department for IT, which you would definitely see, 414, I believe is the number.
Yeah.
It's a very big number.
But there is a potential to bundle some of these, because
Yes.
a company that we're looking at does offer phone lines as well. But the contract expires May of next year, and we do not plan on renewing it without putting it back out for bid.
What was the big jump in community support services agreements?
Yes.
Yeah,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
So we previously had an account specifically called Trees for Tomorrow, and then we had another account, which is still there, called Special Projects and Events. And we had 30,000 in special projects and events that we allocated towards PDRTA. We took it out of the special projects and events, moved it to the Trees for Tomorrow account, and just renamed it to Community Support Services Agreements. So that's really no increase, it's just we reallocated the lines. So that 30,000 is for PDRTA, and then the 7,000 is for Trees for Tomorrow.
Yep, and you can see, if you continue on in the budget, on page 27, each line, so the budget narrative, the reason why it's called that is because it does talk about each individual line. So it shows that 37.5 is 30,000 for PDRTA. We do call it just local transportation assistance, and then Trees for Tomorrow is called out there, so 7,500.
And that's on page 27.
That's right.
Daniel, did we move the grant match money somewhere else, or
It
we
just,
only gonna apply for grants that are 100% funded, or what?
it just depends on where we're applying from. So we didn't see any that needed a match from this account right to this year. But we are still
From this
applying for,
particular account.
yes, we are still applying for grants.
Gotcha.
Yes, and we talked about that, and one thing that we always have to do, if there is any match, we have to come to y'all either way. And if there is one that comes up, we didn't have one specific that we knew was coming online, but it will come to y'all, and then I would amend it back in if we have that.
We didn't need to put 40,000 just floating on the account if we didn't have anything tied to it yet.
We are absolutely
Oh, yeah.
looking.
We've done more grants in the last 5 years than we've have ever.
Well, that's what I thought, but I couldn't, but this is just that.
We're cleaning a lot of these lines up too. There's a lot of cleanup happening. We always are trying to do better whenever we see an opportunity.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Chastity.
And there is a grant breakdown on page, just at the end, page 161, so you can kind of see what grants we're thinking of in the next year and which ones we already know we have. And then, of course, there will be some that pop up throughout the year that will come to y'all with as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
I see, utilities road bill, that's the cameras and lighting,
Yes.
is that gonna be?
No, that's not cameras and lighting. That's actually utilities for the house we keep in
It's
use.
energy bill for the cameras and lighting.
Yep. And then it is on this, in the house that we have
In
in
the
Road
house.
Deal. Yeah.
There's camera system in that house as well.
For
that's
where the police
maintained.
officer lives.
Yes,
Yep,
So we pay for that security system.
we do.
that's right.
And we've talked about whether or not we want to keep that program or not, continue it. The grant has expired, of course, but we still maintain having a paid officer in that neighborhood.
I like it there. That's a good idea. It would really help, that community.
Do you have any prospect of looking into, the South Hartsville community?
I would like to. I mean, if we're looking at keeping this, then I would want to offer it to everybody if I could, but that's a cost. So, I mean, it's something that we've kind of held for this entire time, but I do believe if it's good for one, it's good for everyone. And so when we do something, it's important to remember that we should be offering it to everyone. So it's something we can consider going
You say
forward.
Offering security for,
Offering a house, if we're going to have an officer housed in one neighborhood, I'd like to have an officer housed in every neighborhood if possible.
I think it was very successful in Oakville, and I would love to see that somewhere else.
Yeah,
No,
so,
no, it wasn't up there. There was a property on Marlboro Avenue that we were trying to get,
mhm.
at one time, but then none of the officers actually want to live there because of ongoing cases that they had.
And that's a fair point, so.
Yeah. But,
Do
but
we
still,
know what part of South Hartsville where they would be willing or able to go?
I don't know. That's something we would have to look at and do like if Coker over there, Odell, if that's gonna be the model that we follow, then we'll have to use the same, maybe some of the same, concepts they use.
I got a question.
Well, that's what I'm cautious.
I may know a spot, so, but you said they live there. They don't live there, do they?
Yeah, no,
Police
they-
officer
yeah.
lives in Oakville, yes, sir. It's on I think it's Coker Avenue.
I think so.
It's on
On
Mill.
Mill.
On Mill.
So the property is owned by the city?
Yes, sir.
See the police car.
Yeah.
It's easy to find.
An officer and his family live there.
And the officers apply to.
They apply for
to
it.
do And then we approve it.
But it's nice for them as well. I mean,
Okay,
they're-
all right, so stress that property out without.
Yeah,
Why don't I look into some options and figure out if there's a way that makes sense? Because,
Actually, there were two locations. There was one on Marlboro, and then there was also one on Rice Street.
Rice Street.
yeah, I'd like to, let me speak with the chief, talk about what some options are and
The
potentially
old
come back.
study house.
Yeah, okay.
So
All right.
we'll have to look at what's on the market and then compare some data
Got you.
before we make, the decision like that.
I got you, okay. That's good.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
say that out loud.
Okay? Okay?
All right.
Alrighty. Well, nothing else, so we'll move on to the next one. All right, this is Mayor, Clerk, and City Council.
Hey.
So the only two staff in here, we have,
What page?
yep, thank you. Yep, 29.
I'll just interrupt.
Just interrupt me, please.
That's the best one we got in there.
All right, So this is council salary, city clerk, and I believe it's Director of Special Projects still in here.
So the mayor and city council did not get a pay raise.
No. So only the
But-
mayor and city council can approve a pay raise, and that would go into effect in the next election, after next election. So there's no COLAs, no raises for council.
Don't be looking for one.
You said don't be looking for
No,
one.
ma'am.
Well, we have.
We did, I
I-
will say, we
I
did have,
did.
we did, I'm not gonna say who, we had some questions come up about the salaries for council, so we did look into how you guys compare across the state. And you are low, to be quite honest.
Show me growth, and we'll talk about raises.
Well,
We are very,
Well,
very
it's,
low.
it's,
you're very low
You're
compared
very
to.
low.
Very
Very low.
man.
it's been a very long time. For
And
that-
also, our insurance, as we age, chips away at that more.
I got you.
I believe your insurance costs more than what you actually get.
That's
I know
right.
it does.
Yeah, it
but I
does.
want that. Oh, wait a minute, I thought I paid for those, Taste of Hartsville tickets. So, they charged me for two,
Yeah.
but it was my
Health
age,
insurance.
and then it was tax, not tax.
Because we do
but
pay for Taste of
insurance
Hartsville
premium.
Insurance will kill you. I agree.
Okay. So any questions about any of this?
I did ask about that. I would think maybe the next budget is one that we do that in.
Well, and I mean, and
Since it's
going
not in
back,
this year,
so, I
y'all-
mean, just to be.
It's been a
so
long time.
We've been raising the salaries of staff, to keep up with costs.
Yep.
So just, you guys were even lower before then, so just, it's something to think about. There's been about a 20% increase
Yeah.
in COLAs to keep up with inflation, so that's, I mean, 20% of what council makes is only about, $1,000 extra, but it's still something, so. It's just something to be considerate of. I understand politics, so that's for you guys to discuss. But we have looked at, and we would have some recommendations if you did want to look at what other cities of our size, our budget, and our growth is experiencing, what you guys would be at. So I just wanted you to be aware that we have some numbers in mind if you do want to look at that. Okay?
And that can only be done during an election.
It can be done anytime, it just will not go into effect until
Okay.
after the election,
All right.
correct? And that would be next year. We have an election next year, so it would go into effect November of 2027, if it was voted on this year.
That gets confusing to me. I'm going to Sharon, I'm going to get you to help me understand that one.
State law's fun.
It's the law, that's.
Oh,
It's a
but
law.
you put it in this
That's
budget.
why you need to understand it.
No,
Yeah.
not that, but that if I put it in this budget, but then it's not actually,
You don't put it.
I wouldn't put it in this
There.
budget, it would
that's
go
it.
in next
So it's
budget.
something completely separate. That's the part.
If they were
Goes
to
into
approve
next
it
year.
now, you just have to keep up with it until after the election in
Got it.
27, but not budget it until that.
So I
budget.
could do it as like a separate resolution or
So,
ordinance to increase it.
Well, I would budget for it for next year,
May as
if
well
they did
wait
it this
till
year.
Next year to do it, to see what the numbers are then at that time, because if they approve it now, next year they may go, well, we want to increase it again, and they can. It just will not go into effect by
Hmm.
state law until after the election.
Okay. Oh, no, I didn't want to put in there if it won't.
I mean, for
go
instance, the
effect. I'm
county
not
gave
gonna have it.
themselves a COLA, I believe, in one of the previous budgets, and it didn't go into effect until the council, until it went into the election.
Well, we have an election every 2 years. Every odd year. Y'all are odd ducks.
Agreed.
Okay, any questions about this?
I like that too.
You like that?
The code book codification was extra $5,000.
Mhm.
Is that because of UDO?
Yes, yeah. We split it too.
And that's split.
It's a $10,000 bill.
Next year is gonna go back to,
We could, unless we have something else we need to change.
Something that massive, I doubt.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't done a big project that in a while since we did the digitalization, and then we did the codification of the UDO.
and every other year we have election supplies.
We do, yeah.
That's right.
And then it goes up if we anticipate a runoff, those type of things. So,
And what's the deal with subscriptions? That was a big drop.
what is that?
It went from 14 to 4,600.
What page?
Agenda annual contracts.
First line.
Let's see.
That was because of, Andrea, tell me if I'm wrong here. That big drop we're seeing there is because we did the rollover. That was that one-time fee. We switched to a new system this year, software. So that's the big drop y'all saw. It was
Not
like
like
that.
magazine subscriptions, it's something else.
No, no,
It's
no.
our subscription for the peak agenda, where you all get your agenda, they phased out our old software, and we had to convert to a new one.
So that was the conversion fee. That was a one-time conversion fee.
Yeah, phase out
So,
to the public, yes.
that's when we went from no to Granicus.
That's right.
Mhm.
Exactly right.
And we did increase telephone, I believe council has telephones now. That's something else we increased.
Kinda,
You have the option to if you want one.
We traded up with who had phones. We looked at our Verizon deals and did it. Pete, we didn't add you in there, don't worry. You let me know though if you want.
well, I got a different problem with anything, see all and all that kind of crap, so I'm not gonna discuss it here.
Okay.
But really, I'm gonna tell you why I made the request, because I use my personal phone so much that I had to start paying for data. I had to start paying for data.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions about? All right, moving on to court. Page 33. Hearing no objections.
It's safe, we court.
That's right. You like that?
It's a good one.
Okay. All right. So this includes our clerk of court. Is there deputy comes out of this a little bit? No. And then the judges. And we are handling the judges on a different, we don't have to talk about that right now. That is, I think that's Jim McCoy from the hit show Law and Order. And he is a gentleman and a scholar. What's that? He's who I aspire to be, Pete. So. It's one of our employees.
What do you gotta do with it?
So that's our recreation coordinator.
That's him.
That's it.
He's a barrel of monkeys over there.
All right, so we've talked about, this is a timely discussion, so have we figured out anything on what we're doing with our judges?
Yes, we're moving forward on some plans, but we still need to talk about that. But that doesn't really affect us from the budget conversation.
Same cost?
I believe so. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna budget the same cost. Yeah.
It would be how y'all are distributing it.
Mhm.
I never see it.
How we're gonna distribute it.
Within that.
And if we have an adjustment, we can make an adjustment. But for right now, we're considering moving forward as we are. All right. City man, this is me.
Page 36.
Page 36. This is me and the assistant city manager, 50%.
So, what percent of Karen's pay is
50.
CFO and assistant city manager?
So we split her between finance 50%, but she, as CFO, the bulk of her money is from, we just split it between the two departments. But she is 50% from finance, 50% from management.
Pay.
The pay that she has, yeah,
And benefits.
correct, and benefits, yeah.
I like how we're splitting, it's really difficult to parse out. We got, I guess Brandon's, part of Brandon's pay is split as well?
We split
It
different
is,
directors
Because
depending what they're
guess
part
what,
of.
we're over a lot of things, right? So
Right, you
we wear a lot of
I get it.
hats,
I
that's
do
right.
understand.
I would love to have it each person for one, but, right, we have quite the cost savings there, unfortunately for how much Brandon does, but that helps us really try to determine how much each department is spending. And then we further complicate that by the transfer back is a percentage of all the work we put into utilities, right? So all of us, we have a certain percentage for operating, for our staff and all these that we have to transfer back from utilities because a lot of our time is spent on that and that can come from general funds. We actually take that back as a transfer in, which is one of our revenue lines as
So,
well.
when you say a lot of your time is utilities, what do you mean by that?
So all of our staff down here take water bill payments.
Mhm.
So a portion of their pay should actually come from the utility fund.
So they're attached to the finance department, but they're taking utility bill payments, so you gotta.
That's right.
assign it, okay.
That's right.
We
And
charge,
that's actually beneficial for the general fund, right?
Yeah,
So
it
that they're
helps us.
doing, answering calls for all the city, but also utilities. So that is also further complicated. That a portion of our utilities here, a portion of that, right? That all needs to come back from utilities for the time that we spend on utilities.
and this is not uncommon to have the splits
No.
between how you do, especially in local government. You tend to put it wherever they're working, you tend to try and split it up to show true cost for how each is working.
Yes, And, this is also a financial policy, the way that we determine that. There is a calculation behind it, and we have an approved financial policy. by
For the
council
transfer.
For the transfer.
Yep.
Mhm.
The valuation of with the department you're working for, everything's transferred like
That's
that.
right.
Yeah, yeah,
included
it's a,
in
cal-
the
it's a, it's a,
calculation.
it's a calculation, that's right.
We've had an assistant for 3 years, is that right?
We had an assistant before, and so when I first started, I had a request from council, the mayor and council at the time, to add an assistant. And so I did add it to the budget and then added one halfway through the year to add the assistant. And what's funny is we budgeted a full amount for an assistant, but then because I had a CFO here, it was a minor increase because she larger portion is CFO salary related. But I don't understand the confusion about the 50% between the two. That's getting in semantics. I mean, the majority of her time is spent on being finance director and the assistant city manager, but the 50% back and forth, I think it just becomes a thing.
Well, I guess where I'm going is, I think Karen's doing a fine job in both places. I'm trying to find money somewhere. You know, I'm trying to figure out what we're doing and where we're doing it. So I'm just trying to figure out how much time is allocated toward one versus the other. You know, she was a full-time CFO.
Yeah, I don't think
Then
that's
she became
really
a
an
part-time
appropriate
CFO,
conversation
right?
for here, though, to be
Yeah.
honest, Mayor. I don't think that's an appropriate conversation for here. Okay?
I don't know what's appropriate, but I'm just looking at money. So
Talking about personnel and reducing payment for personnel?
no, I'm not talking about reducing payments. I'm trying to understand the roles. That's all.
Okay, what questions do you have then?
So, if she was a full-time CFO.
She is a full-time CFO.
Yeah, yeah, she's making full-time pay.
Yes,
Then she became also a full-time assistant city manager.
correct.
Is she making full-time assistant city manager pay, or, I mean, did her?
What, do you, would,
Did her pay double? Did we just take a little bit more and
I
from
would like to
CFO
speak on
pay?
this, if you don't mind. So when Karen took the, basically promotion as assistant city manager, she took a small raise relative to if you had hired an external assistant city manager.
Right.
So we took a big cost savings to our budget. For example, if we would have hired an external advocate for the assistant city manager, you would have, let's just throw out a number. Well, actually, I won't throw out a number. You would have a full-time salary
It's a
plus
six-figure
full-time
salary.
benefits.
I'm assuming.
I mean, somewhere in that ballpark, and then you add salary, benefits as well,
Right.
you'll have a lot higher impact to our budget than what we did when she
Right.
took on that role. She had a relatively small increase, I mean, really relatively small increase.
but no, she's not receiving double pay.
Correct.
No one in the city is receiving double pay for the jobs that we have, and many of us wear many hats, and we do not receive double pay for the jobs.
Yeah, just
Just to be clear on that.
Yeah, all the roles that, you know, they have to take monies from here, here. These are all the places that she works. And like she said, if we had put it out for bid, or put it out for an application, then we get a full-time person for the assistant city manager, and then we would still have to pay for the full-time position for the CFO.
That's what I'm getting at, is
Yeah.
we're, by having,
We
basically,
save money.
we're getting, it's sort of a person and a half, from a pay standpoint, but we're getting two full people in that position, in those positions.
Yes.
Okay, I think he kind of makes it, this is probably not the venue to join a full discussion about this. I really don't believe in this double hatting of employees, but if the work saves you money, I can compromise for that. I really.
Well, the options are, if we have to wear double hats, the reason why I do that is because we're trying to be stewards of the money. If we don't do that, then I will be happy to give you the cost of what it truly
Oh, yeah,
costs to
yeah,
hire
well,
every
I
single
realize
position.
that too.
We'll give you as much government as you guys want to pay for.
That's right.
That's exactly
Well,
it.
I guess where I'm going is, are we prepared for what's coming? And eventually, we need to have full-time people in those positions. What is our plan for getting there?
It's to find ways to increase revenue, so that's where I would come to council and say, okay, now's the time we have to raise taxes for the next 5 years.
Or
To do the true costs of doing things. So revenue, I can't print money, and I can't make things happen. I can't sell more to get more things. So the only options are to cut services, and I don't think the residents would appreciate that, or to increase taxes, or to find other ways to do things.
But I will say the ACM role at other cities, Fountain Inn, for instance, Goose Creek even, these are typically a ACM slash CFO. They have that at different points.
Absolutely, yeah.
Some places
That's a
have it
very
as,
common,
that's
combo.
common.
Yeah, if you look around the city and talk to other cities, it's very common to have these types of
Yes,
situations.
I know someone that just went to MESC. She was the ACM slash CFO of that city before she went. It is a common one, and that wasn't, when we made that decision, as I'm sure he said, it was a big cost savings for us to keep it in-house.
Yeah, for instance, they were hoping, I know a couple council members were hoping that the assistant city manager would be the public services director.
That was,
And so there would have been a slash between the assistant city manager, and I would have had them be a public services director as well. And that's not uncommon as well. So typically it's structures for city management. You have your city manager, city administrator. You can do a deputy who is kind of in between the assistant and the city manager. And then you typically assign city managers or assistants to be over different departments. And so, for instance, Sherrod has one that was over Parks and Rec for the most part. And so it is a very common thing. And in local government, we wear the hats because we are trying to be good stewards of the money.
Yeah, I got you. So
Um,
the bottom line is, this discussion needs to be prior to this.
Well,
budget meeting.
I think the thing that's interesting to me is it continues to come up to justify the position. And when it was justified 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I understand who is saying it, where it's coming from, and that's what's frustrating about it.
It's not coming from anywhere but me. I'm trying to understand.
I think,
the dynamics. There's no,
Hold on, wait a minute. Before we get down the road, we do go through this every year. So I do understand.
This is my first year.
I got you. We go through this every year, We actually budgeted for this 4 years ago.
We did, yeah. I held off because I wanted to make sure we picked the right person.
Then we did it the following budget, if I'm correct. We made that decision as a body. We can have that conversation later, but I don't think this conversation, when finding money, should be merged with personnel at all. Because we have, what you have now, you don't have a true cost for. We've already looked at that time and time again. We don't need to spend the hat on that. We know we gotta do it. We talk about this as commercial. Daniel already talked about it today, commercial.
You gotta raise revenue. That's
I don't wanna get in anybody's hat.
You can only raise revenue or cut expenses. That's all you can do.
So
Let's move on.
we're at the rainbow, at the end of rainbow, and that's our hot dog.
and
Maybe
I
you
would,
understand that
I
now.
would be very frank and honest in it. I think I took 10,000 to take on that much more to take on four more departments. No,
You've
I
done a
just-
fantastic job.
yes,
Karen.
but
It's-
listen, if we're
has
talking
nothing to do
cost
with his
savings,
work.
you just said I'm just looking for ways to save money,
That's right.
and you directly tied it to my position. So imagine, right? And when I do hear that, that is difficult to hear because I give a lot to the city.
Absolutely.
Daniel will tell you too. I said, let's just cut the position completely because previous council members had the same discussion. I said, I will just stay CFO. I will manage the other departments and do it proudly because of how much I love this town. So
Sorry to upset you, Karen.
go watch a few previous meetings. That would help maybe. It's all public and you can see, we say it's our first budget that you've done this. So maybe some previous ones you'll see why this is tough for me because no other positions will have this discussion.
So
Yep.
let me suggest something. Mayor and any other council members, we did what we did 4 years ago. And if we need to talk about it, we need to do it in a way that Karen does not have to continue to suffer the emotional,
Other questions about my pumpkin, potentially? This is information technology. Page 40. So yes, we are looking at, we do see a small increase in here. 2%. We've had to deal with a number of increases over the years. When I first started, we actually were a little bit lower than this, but we had a good savings. It's not translated in this report because we went past it, but IT is one of the fastest growing departments that we have to be considerate of. We are going to be looking at doing this, not for this year's budget, but for next year's budget, some changes to that. And
this is
hopefully
no
some
employees,
savings.
This is just a contract.
This is just a contract. Yeah. We can't, typically, you can't have one person who handles all the IT. If you do, they're kind of the one who's every person. The IT is getting so specialized with cybersecurity, networking, communication, computers. So we have one of our employees who wears another hat. Amber, she handles the contract, but also is kind of our go-between between them for that. But she's also our risk procurement manager and our risk manager and procurement manager. So
That's
she
right.
wears 3 hats.
And we're thankful for that. She's always so willing to help everybody with it and be that in between. And she sets up all the phones and is our main contact
Yep.
for IT.
So this is one we're going to be looking at changing in the next couple.
Does this address the computer problems at the jail?
No,
Yeah.
I mean, no, that's a separate, this is the IT contract. So, I mean, the computer problems it's something that we can't deal with in this budget line.
Now, does this include potential equipment and all going forward?
Yep.
What
So right now,
do next year?
we do a service through VC3, which is a lot of state agencies, not state agencies, but cities within the state use VC3. And I'm not speaking ill of them. I do want to look at potentially other options. They could be the better option as we go out. But right now, we do something called HAAS. It's HAAS, Hardware as a Service. So we lease. This is not ours. This is leased through VC3. I have a problem with that. I don't think that that's a good option because we end up paying more. It's like Rent-A-Center.
Yeah.
You're trying to, you're paying more for something that you could just buy outright. If it does go down, they do replace it though, but typically at another cost. So we're going to be looking at not a leasing option, but actually purchasing the hardware. And from initial conversations with another group, that we would have to go out for bid. So just understand that. But just in getting idea for budgetary numbers, even buying the equipment, one-time cost would be higher, but then we'd end up saving money over the long term and being kind of in control of our own situation. So I want to move away from the hardware as a service. I want to move away from what we're doing now and go to another fully contracted IT service, but potentially through another company. That may or may not have, I believe there's a local group that's interested in doing something, but it could be someone else. You can do this remotely. So whatever the best option for us is.
So we don't want to be a car, title, long company. So if we buy it and then continue to use it, like he said, our cost is going to, you might pay a little more than once your equipment's paid for, then you just go horizontal.
Only pay for the service, not the hardware.
Yeah.
So is the IT department, is this something we're gonna continue to see the increase year after year, especially with the way everything's moving? with the
I'm
AI
hoping if
We're
we're
hoping
able to,
not.
I'm hoping as we renegotiate a new contract. So we've been with VC3 10 plus years, more than that. And so when I first started, for instance, when I first started, it was probably closer to about like the 350,000 range. And we negotiated a new contract with them to remove a very interesting, we used to stream our computers from Columbia. And it was, people would start typing an email and literally you could type it, step away from your computer, and it would start populating because it was so laggy. And so when I first started, we renegotiated the contract, got it down to 200. But this growth has been from cyber. You can't see it on there.
Well,
Has been
and there
from
are-
cyber. is security
Yes, and
changes.
that's
That's been
required by-
huge.
No problem with that, because we've got the protected information.
Well,
And
the
it's
big-
actually required by our insurance now by MESC. And also a part of that is what's required from the police side of making sure
sled.
That's right.
So,
we have to have certain things. in
so to
place
answer
for
your
that.
question, it is going to go up, but I hope to renegotiate a lower rate with a new company, and then we'll see the growth again, and then we'll make another change. You know, but no, I mean it's
We gotta
expensive.
put it out for bid.
It's
We
expensive.
have to put it out for
I
bid.
mean, this will be a $300,000+ contract. So
I would love to, like they said, to own our equipment too. I'd really like to have that opportunity and not limit.
we just got locked into a 3-year renewal. At the time, it was okay, and then when we tried to challenge it, they did.
So we're gonna send that notice to them.
Yes, we will send it to them with ample time.
Yes.
So
The other side, council wasn't on board with numbers of persons at that time either.
no, if we wanted to do IT in-house, this number would not even be close to what it would be.
We need to be mindful of that. We need to pull the Band-Aid off. It's gonna cost, but we need to pull the Band-Aid
I
off.
believe we'll have a one-time cost, so it'll be, my understanding when I ran the numbers the last time to go to a new company was it would be the same for the first year because we would have to build in purchasing all the equipment. And then we'd go down in annual payments after that. So we're gonna try and stay the same, and they also offer, this particular company offered a phone service as well. So we're gonna shop around and find the best option for us, but their goal was to make this go down next year. But we're locked in this year.
Yeah, because it was a 3-year, but we've already been working with Amber. I just suggested send it again, get the letter out. We've got to get it. Last time we did try to have our attorneys get involved, and it was too much of a nightmare to get out of the contract.
They challenged it. We had a situation. They did technically meet it by the skin of their teeth, but we
Yep.
had a situation. So.
The last day.
The last day. That's right. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other questions? All right. Next up, we got our finance department,
Page 42.
page 42. And a lot of these things, you'll see some true ups. We did have a staff transfer to permitting, the permitting coordinator, so we pulled that out of there. I believe we have, I'm trying to figure out how many staff we have in here. But there's a few staff that we did have some true ups. That's why you see the decrease,
I can go over those.
if you wouldn't mind, yeah.
Yep. So we had Chastity move over. I wrote all these down yesterday. Chastity, a portion of her, talk about wearing multiple hats. Now she has graciously taken over Neptune from me. So I moved a portion of that to her when she became controller. I believe that's 30% of hers went over to utilities. Janelle went from 50% down to 0 because now she is over in our planning and zoning department. And then we had a savings with Terry retiring. We had a little bit of savings there, which we got Thomasina, which we love her. She's great. So we did have a little bit of savings there. Those are those kind of changes. So that was a little funky.
Saves in this department, but it's transferred to other departments.
Not all of it.
So some
not
of
all
it's
of it.
pure
Yep.
savings.
Yep, that's right.
Thank you.
Which we did have a savings in Neptune because we didn't backfill one of the positions. We promoted Scott to the GM, and we didn't backfill the assistant GM. He's just taking on more roles as the GM.
Doing
We
a
had
great job there too.
at the park.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to HR, page. So human resources has really taken on a lot more across the city. They, of course, help with, not only do the human resources department, they also do all these special events for all the staff. So all the employee outings, all the employee things, we're playing basketball, that's all through them. They also do all the wellness initiatives. They also handle all the hirings for Neptune Island. And I believe I just stamped, I think, 300 applications or something close to that. 500 applications for Neptune Island, and so they manage that as well. So,
And they have taken that on. Let me step back there.
Yeah.
They have taken that on in our first season, maybe 2 seasons. We outsourced that, and that was a 30% markup on each one of those employees. So years ago, when we opened the water park, that was a direct cost savings by bringing that in-house, and we are extremely gracious that they manage all of that. If y'all ever get a chance, y'all need to go to one of those hiring events they have. They run like a fine-tuned machine. Like, you have the interviews going, you get the drug test done, you get the paperwork done, all on one Saturday. It is a lot of work, a whole lot. It's a whole lot going on at TV Thomas, but they do a great job, and we're gracious for them.
Any questions about any of this?
Is that anticipated to kind of flatten out other than cost of living, that sort of thing? We have a pretty good increase from 24 to 27, looks like it's.
That was an employee. That
Yeah,
was
we
an
added
additional
employee,
employee.
yep.
Yep.
We're not anticipating any more.
No, there's, we
Oh, I mean, they would absolutely, that was one of the positions we did have to
cut from the
cut this
requests.
year. We cut a lot of requests this year.
They need another
They
position
need
for
another
Neptune.
one, but right now we can't afford it. So,
So what is the operation season, what's the total number of employees working?
It's 3 total for HR.
Three HR, not HR, but I'm talking about.
at the water park?
Oh, we
Go
hire,
ahead.
Roughly 300, I would say.
300?
Kimberly may know better than I do.
Well, last year we were roughly about 323 that we hired, but this year we'll be somewhere between 250 and 275.
majority of those are lifeguards.
Yeah,
That's gonna matter.
And is that one you won the award for?
Yes, we do the youth development. We're the largest employer of youth in the area.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I love that.
And we brought back the finance intern this summer, so we're excited to have her. She wanted to come back home. She's from the Terrell area, but she wanted to come back from Charleston, and so we have her coming in as an intern, and she plans to go on and get her CPA. So we're excited to have her out at the water park this year.
Every department wanted increase in employees.
Yes.
How close are we?
Not
Not
every, but
everyone, mostly.
but a lot.
Yeah, it's typically, what's the question?
Most of them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How close are we to being in critical need? You and I talked about adding a couple months ago, adding a person per shift for fire.
Mhm.
That's right.
I know police wanted some.
Police actually didn't this year.
They
Thank you,
did not
Byron.
request any new staff this year.
Byron did me a solid on that.
No, I mean, we're approaching the need. I mean, we need it, and we could use them right now.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, but the reality is, this is what the revenues are.
Where's the most critical need for adding employees? What department?
I'd have to do. I mean, I would say right now, I mean, between recreation was the number 1 for us right there. That's why we added that one. But between utilities hasn't had a new employee added since I think the 70s. Fire definitely needs more additional staffing. Police, I think, is okay, but I think they could all use one. But that's where the conversation, if council's unwilling to, for instance, raise taxes, which I think is, it is leaving a bit of money on the table every year. And I understand that it is a political conversation, but for instance, if we added a few mills every year to $100,000 a year, then we would have an extra $1 million of operating funding to do that. I can't add $1 million in 1 year. Because we're capped. And so the reality is that staffing is going to increase. There's no other way around it. So in cost of doing staffing, and frankly, the costs around employees, for instance, police especially, across the state, when the state made a big move and absorbed a lot of the jail positions across the state and was able to increase the starting pay to $50,000 a year, that sent shockwaves through the community. When I first started, police were in $33,000 a year. Now they're in the 40s. And so this is the reality of government, that we are going to have to find ways to create more revenue. But if I have to talk about cutting services, we have unfortunately, a triage list we could go through. So yes, we're reaching critical need for some of these departments, absolutely.
The utilities and fire are your critical need right now.
Right now, I'd say, yeah. And grants for those are drying up. So
Yes, so that was,
Yeah.
we're gonna say, that's one reason why we're hoping, I would love for that to open back up. There used to be a recruiter position in fire, which is a fireman, but it's recruiter, and it would be funded, I believe it was a 5-year grant for the position, and you pay for it after that. Right now, those funds are frozen. If that opened back up, that would be awesome. And I think you can get more than one, I don't think it's just one, so we're trying to look at that. It would be funded the same way we were able to fund the butler position because we added the SRO, it was a new position, we were able to get that grant funded.
Yeah.
So it can't be one you already have, but if you're adding a new position for police or fire, there's certain funds available, but right now they're frozen. open, and that would be a good cost savings for us, for a few years at least.
Other questions? All right, Main Street.
That is the page 50.
Now, this one did not win the contest, right, Michelle? Is she back there still? But this was my favorite. This was the lineman from Duke who built
I
a
love it.
pole dancer, in my opinion. This is for the scarecrows downtown. I thought this was the most clever, in my opinion. No offense to our staffs, sorry.
So you're gonna see there is a decrease there with salary and benefits, and that's because we're in multiple hats. We have Michelle that's doing an excellent job, has taken that on, and kind of realign some of her responsibilities and duties over to her staff so that she can focus on this. And it's going well so far.
And what would happen is that when we had always been encouraged to have a director at the Main Street level. Matt was only just a manager, and so he answered to it. So now, when we reshifted the positions, the director of Main Street is also the director of communications. So Michelle was able to take that role on fully, and then have the two. We have 3 staff underneath her that are able to do it, but that's in the marketing side. So that's why Main Street is now fully umbrella, and we have a director at that level. And it's 50-50, I think, or 60-40.
Yes.
Yeah.
40.
40%.
She's 40 over in Main Street and then 60% over in marketing and communications.
To be fully over Main Street.
I still don't really understand the difference between them, but
There is, yeah.
I need to understand that difference.
What do you mean, between Main Street?
Main Street and,
In marketing and communications, I mean, I think they're both vital, but it's I don't understand how one changes from the other. I'm not opposed to it, I just need to understand.
Michelle absolutely can explain that.
Yeah, the Main Street district is actually a formal district that
Yep.
council
Geographic
voted on,
district,
and it falls under a MASC, program, which is the Main Street program. And so the focus of the Main Street program is on literally that district. They are refined by those rules that council voted on and adopted several years ago. Whereas our marketing, we're able to promote to greater Hartsville community. So Main Street promotes, supports, creates events within the district that council gave us.
and it's, Main Street adopted from, we had the Downtown Development Association, or group, and Main Street kind of took that over. Main Street was separate from the city at one point. No, when it came in, became Main Street, which became part of the city. And so we are one of the, 6 accredited Main Street programs across the state. We serve as an example, and we work alongside like the chamber to do events across the city, but we represent a smaller district. But marketing is citywide. So Main Street has its own purpose, has its own focus on downtown businesses,
That's right.
in the mostly in the Main Street district with the B1 district, and then of course, marketing is for the entire city, and tourism and communication.
James,
Ma'am.
did we lose our accreditation one time, or did
No,
we
what
almost lose
what
it?
happened is when, this is 2 Main Street managers ago, I believe, there was, they've been really getting stricter on what the qualifications are. They're
Right.
really trying to increase the, or to make it, not more difficult, that's not the right word, but they are making it, you have to be
Yes.
more stringent.
Right.
And so, we're formalizing, thank you, Michelle. And so what happened is that we were on, on probation,
Yeah.
and we almost went to double secret probation,
Right.
whatever it is from Animal House. But we were put in a position, and then a staff member left.
Right.
It left it into a bit of, Michelle, do you want to answer it? Because
Yeah,
I'm
when I came
stumbling
on,
over it.
Almost 4 years ago, I was told that we would not be reaccredited. There was no way that we would get accredited again when I came on 4 years ago. And then by the next February, I think it was, we received full accreditation.
So I was having you recall that and recount that for the mayor's understanding.
Right, so we were, because they had increased so much of their reporting requirements and those kind of things, and a lot of that's coming from Main Street America,
Yes,
and
Yeah.
that's coming down to the state levels as well.
right.
Does that kind of answer, or do you want to get into some more?
Yeah, I'll sit down more, because I really want, it has nothing to do with the budget, though.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
want to promote Main Street and downtown as much as I can.
Okay, all righty.
And I will say, one thing that we've done really cool there is we want to be inclusive of all businesses. It's tough when some feel left out. So one thing that we did do as well to help with that is now maybe you already said it, I didn't hear it, but we cover that fee completely. We used to charge the businesses to be in it. But now, as long as you're in the downtown, in that district, you are a part of it. You're included and welcome to any event that Main Street does have. And that is one thing Michelle does great. And one thing we want to make sure we do well is include everybody within
Yeah,
that.
I mean, so like, for instance, I know there's another little event going on, but some businesses were excluded,
Right.
and that has caused some problems.
And we have to be careful as the
And
city.
so we're getting calls about it. So, you know, it's just something when we talk about, we want to make sure we're inclusive.
Yes, very important.
And I think the reason you guys decided not to charge was, one of the things was because for small businesses to have to pay to belong to Main Street and to belong to the chamber, it was a burden.
Yeah, we want to
They
do
wanna
things
have their burden
in conjunction with the
and
chamber and
figure
not
out
be
what's
a,
wrong with the chamber.
the chamber and the Main Street can coexist. And that's things that a lot of times cities have one or the other. And so I think it was a good move for us to give the chamber what they do well and then let us do what we do. But I think I've really enjoyed the relationship we built. It's good. Yep, got the heart. Love you, Murphy. All right. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Planning and zoning.
Page 54.
Everyone needs a Brenda. All right. Any questions about planning and zoning? This has been a wild ride getting to where we need to be right now. It's definitely one situation where I did make some changes to it, and then I realized I needed to change it back. So we are back to a one-stop shop. It's under the Development of Planning or Department of Professional Business Services with Brandon Brownsover. And right now, it's working out.
So you are gonna see that decrease we have there, for that, and that's because of the building officials. So when we talk about it, there's a lot of ups and downs that got to that -20. So you would have the plus of our COLA for this year, but then we had Janelle that moved from 50 to 100% in this department. But the big decrease we had that was an offset was removing the building official position, as y'all know, and we went back to the contracted building inspection services. So you see that increase down there.
And if you went back through my previous budget and previous years, so you know we tried to go to a full-time person again. We did not get any qualified applications. And it is very indicative of the time. A lot of these building officials can make a lot more money in the private sector. They have to get all 4 certifications. You can stop at plumbing or electricity and be done. So these positions are they're drying up. And so, and if you look at the number of companies that are out there and how many they've snatched up, there's no reason to work for a city anymore, I feel like, unless you can really pull. So we went back to Safe Built. We have tweaked the contract. We do 5-day-a-week inspections, which was a big deal, and next day inspections too. And so far, we've had great success moving back to it. We tried another area. The grass was not greener. And we canceled that within 4 months, and now we are back to a company that we believe and trust. So it's working out, but that did have a cost savings for us.
Yeah, thank you for getting the 5-day week. That was a really big deal for our builders.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, with the Tuesday, Thursday inspections, I mean, and then you're held up over the weekend, I get it. Use weeks, yeah. So you lose time, and that's money. So, but we will always be fair and consistent, and we are not going to be pushovers. Believe me. Okay. Any questions about this? All right. And it's 10:20. If you guys need a break or anything, just let me know. We'll move through it. Do you want to do a break? We're good.
If y'all want a break, we're gonna break.
Oh, wait, we're almost done with general fund. Sorry.
Y'all just
We are-
wanna, well, no, we're not.
You want to power? No,
We're
we're
not.
halfway through. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we're
got
not.
some more. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break. 15 minutes, we'll call.
I'm
10-minute
I'm
break.
fine with 5, 10. Yeah, sure.
10-minute break.